on friendships. True friendship is a strong bond and sense of attachment that time cannot wear out. Even if paths diverge over time, hearts always remain side by side with it. Friendship is healing each other's wounds with love and a high sense of loyalty that transcends time and distance. True friendship is not being carried away by the same waves together, but being able to hold on to each other amidst them. It is not shared memories, but talking in silence. A true friend is someone who can listen without judgment and who can understand unconditionally. Friendship is the most intimate expression of human existence, a bond that stands apart from the obligations of kinship. Kinship is not a bond of closeness established through need or blood kinship, but a relationship established through choice. Cicero expressed this closeness by saying, "Friendship increases happiness and reduces misery by doubling our joys and dividing our sorrows." In this state of doubling and dividing, man finds the accurate arithmetic of the soul. As an illusion, man sometimes thinks he is walking the same path as those next to him. They are just companions who accompany us to our destination. However, a good friend is also a true friend. He is not just someone who reflects our thoughts, but someone who expands them, illuminating our inner world even in the darkest of times. Emerson states that friendship can only be achieved through mutual emotional and mental closeness by saying, "The only way to make a friend is to be a friend," and that this is where the paradox of friendship lies. We do not seek friends just for ourselves. We become friends for the sake of the other. Friendship is the relationship that defines genuine connection, both self-sacrificing and the addressee of self-sacrifice, both actor and witness. There is permanent equality in this exchange. Although life pushes people on different paths, at the core of friendship is an unspoken contract that cannot be broken by distance or time. There is a fundamental purity in the love between friends. It is unaffected by jealousy and fears that often taint other loves. As Aristotle described, friendship is a mutual admiration between equals, in a sense, one soul in two bodies. A friend is an encounter with a reflection of one's highest self, a mirror in which one sees not only who one is, but who one can be. Friendship is a consolation and a teacher of truths one might prefer to avoid. It is an opportunity that reveals flaws and gently guides one towards self-awareness. Words of truth are the hardest to hear, but they are also the most necessary for growth. Only through the goodwill and support of a friend can one endure the bitter words of truth. Friendship is a mystery that grows in the lap of feelings beyond reason. It is the coming together of souls that have fallen apart. Montaigne said the following about his deep bond of friendship with Étienne de la Boétie. "I do not say why I loved him, I can only express it this way, because he was him and I was me next to him." In such bonds there is a wordless understanding, a telepathy of emotion where words become almost unnecessary. The essence of the relationship is not hidden in what is said, but in the time spent together and in what happens in shared memories. And a friend's ear is needed to listen to a friend's story because, as Mevlana put it, those who look from the same perspective, but those who look from the same pain, cannot understand each other. In this world, friendship and understanding sprout around shared pains and wounds. In Nietzsche's words, pain is man's most sincere teacher. True friendship does not always exist without challenge. It requires endurance, patience, and forgiveness. The Stoic sage Seneca advised that friendships should be tested like gold by fire. There is nothing nobler and more selfless than true friendship. Since friendship bonds are not quickly established, they should not be easily discarded. The test of friendship usually occurs when a person is at their weakest and most vulnerable. Like all relationships, friendship is open to the vicissitudes of circumstances, sometimes to the conflicts that life brings. Sometimes, just as it is necessary to come together, it is essential to part quietly. Yet even here there is no pain, only the melancholy of desire transformed. As Rilke said, "Let life happen to you." If a friendship fades like a beautiful flower, it does not mean it is not durable. Perhaps it served its purpose when it was meant to exist and is gone when it was meant to go. The moments when friendship shows its most significant strength are almost imperceptible. A friend is remembered when one is alone, and a friend leaves one alone when one is remembered. In an environment where human relationships are conditional, there is no greater consolation than friendship remaining a haven of continuity, a place where it is welcomed as it is. Every person can only enjoy life thanks to a friend. In the presence of a friend, a person sees the bond that speaks to the heart of what it means to be human. This is the dialogue of two souls where words are inadequate, but meaning emerges. A friend is the one who is right next to you while walking, not to lead, not to follow, but to share the journey, to be a companion. When we look back at the transient nature of time, the richness of our lives is not the number of friendships we have accumulated, but the depth of those few friendships that truly shape us. Being able to remain without expectations after all these beautiful experiences shows the depth of friendship. Just as the sun does not say to the world, "You owe everything to me," despite everything that happens on earth, friendships are not an investment, but a form of relationship based on devotion. We find shared existence's quiet, modest grace in a disinterested friendship, and the Zoroastrian fire's permanence. A good friend is like a calm bay in stormy seas where the soul seeks shelter. It is the magical bond where two hearts understand each other without being put in touch. A friendship sometimes does not even need words. It is a peace understood in silence, shared with glances. Like stars, it is noticed at night and vanishes in the light. When Nietzsche says, "A good friend increases the meaning of life," he emphasizes that friendship and companionship make a person more human. Falling in love is seeing the beloved other than he is, transforming him into something he is not. It is falling in love with that imaginary person who is free from all kinds of flaws and embodies everything beautiful in the lover's heart. Essentially, the feeling called love is, in a way, a person worshipping himself, a kind of narcissism. In other words, love deepens to the extent that the person can make himself the person in front of him, to the extent that he can create an image of himself in the opposite sex. The depth of a person's love is to the extent that he can see the person he is in love with beyond what he is, to the extent that he can idealize him, to the extent that he can recreate him with his own hands and design him according to himself. As love deepens, it becomes that much harder to describe the feelings about him. The difficulty in expressing love is that there are as many different forms of love as there are heads, thoughts, and hearts. If the person you love can hear your voice while being silent next to you, it means they have a heart suitable for love. Love is like a fire burning in a person's heart. If this fire is a candle flame, even a tiny breeze can extinguish it. If this fire is like a big fire, even big storms and hurricanes cannot extinguish it, and even increase its burning. The extinction of the fire of love is related to the fire's size, not the storm's intensity. After love, there remains both regret and a bitter taste. This feeling stems from that nothing is vulgar where there is love. Therefore, it is not love that is beautiful, but whatever one falls in love with is gorgeous. Love is a seal stamped on the human heart with 3 letters. Removing that seal without breaking the heart is impossible. Therefore, love is indispensable. Being in love with someone else is not experiencing all the beautiful feelings in their person. Still, love is essential because of the intoxication and completion of finding oneself in that person called the other. When a person loves someone, they understand that songs cannot say everything that can be said about love, and that words are not enough to describe love. When people love someone, they realize with astonishment that no matter how much they value the person they love, this is not enough. There is also an interesting fragile sense of narcissism in this feeling, for if a person does not value the person they love more than they should, they will think that they value themselves less than they deserve. Love is a mysterious, tender, wild experience, temporary and eternal. Speaking of love is walking on the fine line between wonder and despair, where words are often inadequate. As Rilke said, love is the solitude of 2 people who meet, protect, and greet each other. This is a paradox. It is a great paradox that something so fragile as this feeling has become the cornerstone of life. Love is simultaneously the most extraordinary longing and the most profound surrender. It is a source of inspiration for poets, a subject for philosophers, and a force that moves at the heart of existence. Aristotle claims that love consists of a single soul inhabiting 2 bodies. He sees love as an emotional attachment and the intertwining of 2 destinies. In this sense, love is a completion, an act of strengthening, an integration of the self through another. Opening oneself to vulnerability is a voluntary leap into the abyss. Love is the act of a person venturing towards re-existing in the body of another. When people fall in love, they feel tension even in their most intimate moments. They simultaneously experience the longing to be fully known and the fear that only full knowledge can solve the mystery that brings people together. The Dalai Lama says, "Love is the absence of judgment." In a world of conditions and expectations, the purity of love lies in the ability to accept without needing transformation. To fall in love with someone is to see them as something other than what they are. There is no other way to surrender to the reality of another being silently. As a person stumbles with the intoxication of love and tries to reshape the beloved in their image, they forget that the magic of love covers all kinds of flaws. Pablo Neruda wrote in his sonnets, "I love you without knowing how, when, or where you are." Cemal Süreya, on the other hand, has very successfully described the feeling of love based entirely on self-sacrifice in his poem, "From Afar, I Love You." I love you from afar, without being able to smell you, without hugging you, without touching your face. I love you from afar, without holding your hand, without touching your heart, without getting lost in your eyes. Although these 3-day loves, not like a vagabond, I love you like a man. I love you from afar, without wiping the 2 drops of tears that leaked onto your cheeks, without sharing your wildest laughter, without humming your favorite song together. I love you from afar, without breaking, without spilling, without breaking, without upsetting, without making you cry. I love you from afar. I love you from afar. These words summarize the mystery of love. These words express slipping from the grasp of reason and settling in the depths of the soul beyond explanation. The feeling of love cannot be governed by logic. It exists in the gap between what we can understand and what we feel. It wants to exist both in the present and in the eternal, defying time and space. Yet despite all its transcendence,